Oh my God. Oh my God. So there's a part two to this. I'm so spot on. I can read all these people. The comment section on this, holy smoke. I'm like, what do I go to first? I actually posted some of the comments down on the other thing. Yeah, I was on their movie on their TV set in the late 90s, and I was still thinking about it. I was like, I don't think I actually worked this show. I think I was there for, they had us there on their set waiting, working on another set. But if I worked the show, I have no memory of it. So what did I say in the clip yesterday? So I don't know like much of the history of either of these two, other than I hear Ashton talking all the time and he's dumb as shit. And I actually long forgot like some of his older stuff, like Punked or anything like that. I forgot he did that, but then I just remembered when they were pulling stuff up, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, so then Ashton has come under fire again. They're like, oh, we did it. I was like, for making a problematic comment about Hilary Duff. Actually, it's a little bit more than that, because when I originally skimmed through this morning, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm on point. Like, there's something about him that it's like, for you to okay that conduct means that you're okay with it and all this stuff. And there's a lot of people in the comments that are okay with it, okay? So, we can get into this. Or making excuses for this. It's just like them, it's the same thing when you go, oh, slavery was a different time, it's all cool. Like it was cool for us, the ones that got harmed from this. No. Like we all wanted it. They're kind of arguing that. Like, it's okay because at that time we were all a bunch of sociopaths and we harmed all the women out here. So, what is your problem today? It's just different times. We don't care today. Like the crime changed or something because at that time there was laws, okay, that adult men cannot be with children, okay? So in the 90s that law was there, okay? So I'm sitting here kind of confused because when I worked on shows, okay, they had us, there was a couple of things that happened. So they had me playing a 15-year-old. It wasn't an actual 15-year-old. You had a 15, they had me playing 15. And when there was ever a child there, they had like their parents or whoever is present, but there was none of this macking out crap. Like, I didn't even see that to my memory of anything like that. So they hire a kid actress, and then, so they knowingly had an adult male who's like 19, I guess then, 18, 19, 20, somewhere around there, right? I guess they're 5 years apart. Go and they write this thing to have the adult male get on a kid. Okay, like no matter what, the laws still apply. And so it may actually come together as to why she's with them now, because it's like a grooming thing. Like I was like, oh my God, okay, that might actually make some sense because there was a thing that happened here because they had an addition in the story that I was like, oh, okay, now it's kind of coming together because I don't know her actual character, like her real person, because she doesn't, like, she'll do interviews, like she did this one, I guess, with Rosie or something, but like, it could be a little bit of an act, right? Like it doesn't really tell you much about her. Like she's kind of like, talk about this thing. And so it's hard for me to assess and go, oh, this evil person, or anything like that. Like it could be just from this early point of things where something occurred and then it just came around. But she was definitely a victim in the situation, at least at the early point there. So it says, it shows the actor 45 who's been slammed over support and convicted rapist Danny. In a 2003 episode of his show Punked, where he spoke about a then 15-year-old Duff, now 35, during the introduction segment. Hilary Duff is in Lizzie McGuire, and she has an album out. She's going to be in a movie called Cheaper Than by a Dozen, and she's one of the girls that we're all waiting for to turn 18, along with the Olsen twins, They were sexualizing the Olsen twins when they were like 17. See, that was the thing. They were like old enough, while Hillary was just 15. Mary Kate and Ashley would have been 17 at the time, while Kutcher was 25. And the video was unearthed after another older clip of Ashton went viral during a joint 2002 interview with his current wife, Mila, who's now 40, right? The actress revealed that Masterson bet Kutcher to French kiss her when she was a 14-year-old girl. Uh-huh. I told you, they showed this picture, I go, those two are trouble. Like, I'm so good at this because, I have met, like, almost every sociopath under the sun. Okay, so, and as a woman, I have to protect myself. And so I could tell, like, just looking at a person in certain mannerisms, that they are a problem. And I think there's a lot of women out there that can do that too, because they already know something bad's gonna happen. These guys right here are no good. And but it's like I can't tell you the whole story about like what he did, but I could tell. I told you guys that. And so I'm reading off of a number of things besides the physical things, or how they're being among each other, but comments, and their just general overall viewpoint about our genders. So they're telling you that they don't care about you as a human, and nor do they tend to care about age, and they're all a bunch of pedophiles. Like, that's part of the thing, because it's not a sex crime per se. It's really a hate crime. It's just like whatever they want, because they're a bunch of narcissists, right? And they're sociopaths. So they're criminal. So they have criminal behavior. So this was totally normalized in the public. So like for her, she doesn't have, so here's the thing about it. So when she's 14, she's learning that she has no say really, and we need to do this and let some guy mac down on her, right? And then these guys are making bets, and so she's in an environment where it's all like male supremacist, sociopath, MS, son of a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, they don't respect her. She should have been protected, okay? But then it's just it becomes a normalization thing where now to her, like, it's totally fine somehow at this point, because they got together later. But this is the early story, and it's problematic. And this is kind of how grooming happens. That's why I was kind of like, that actually could explain it. Because she's not dumb. Like, she's not as dumb as him. But what could be happening here is that sort of stem off things. So that's why I was like, oh, great. Okay. So it says the video was unearthed after another older clip of Ashton went viral. Okay, so we went through that. And then I huff and I puff and I blow the Duff down. Okay, yeah, so he made a comment about she's going to be in a movie called Cheaper by the Dozen. Because she's one of the girls that we're all waiting for to turn 18, along with the Olsen twins, Kutcher said in a resurfaced clip from his show Punked in 2003. That was not okay to be hitting on kids in 2003, but that also explained the public, the sociopath pro-rape a fucking little girl public, when my stuff came out in 2001, where I got completely bullied. No, it was not okay. So whoever's saying that, that's your own damn problem. You're the one that was okay with raping kids. So yeah, and I had to deal with that when that came out. So yes, and so that was the public's viewpoint of raping women, because they're a bunch of sociopaths. So that's it, you guys. There's no excuse for it, and it wasn't legal then. It was illegal in the 90s. It was illegal in the 80s. It was actually, it was illegal the whole time up until they changed the law in 1920 to 18 or so. I mean, or whenever it changed, it was yeah. I mean, at least in the state of California. So no, it was illegal. There was nothing. That's the public. See, the public doesn't go by any laws because they're sociopaths, right? Because they're criminally minded. They wouldn't follow the laws, and then they go do shit like this. But what's crazy about it is it's the production that did this when we have those laws in place. So I don't know why that happened. Okay, so it said Kutcher and Duff starred in the movie Cheaper by the Dozen together, and she appeared on an episode of MTV Prank Show And then he's now received a ton of backlash over the comments, which many have deemed gross and creepy. Yes, early in the days, Kutcher's wife, Mila, was pictured in a second unearthed clip as she spoke about their time on that '70s show. The clip of Kutcher and Kunis, which came from a joint interview on the Rosie O'Donnell show that aired in April of 2002. Oh my god, she was making some comments, dude. She was on it. Resurfaced as the pair was in the headline Saturday after publicly apologizing for letters. They were, you know what? I guess she was a victim. I don't know if she had some abuse, right? And it's kind of funny. I mean, not funny and haha, but like in the interview, she's kind of like, and then you went to jail or something like that. Like she's on it. Like, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know. In 2002, yeah. Resurfaced as the pair was in the headline Saturday after publicly apologizing for letters they wrote in praise of Masterson. Yeah, that whole thing. And so in the 2002 clip occurred during the early years of Fox comedy, which ran from 98 to 2006, and all that stuff. At the time of the interview, Kutcher was 24 and Kunis was 19. Okay, so they're 5 years apart. And they chat with O'Donnell about how early on in the show, the script called for the characters to be making out in a scene. So now that part can be taken away from Kutcher because he didn't write the script right. And now he could have put his foot down and said, no, she's a minor. I don't want to do that. Totally. But no, he's going to do it. Because he's a piece of shit. So, but the writers here really the writers and the production people, whoever's involved with setting this up, are the ones that just said, F the laws, we're going to put an adult man on a little girl. Because that's totally normalized, and sexualizing little girls in real life, regardless if it's a show, that there's no excuse for it. So, having an adult man on a little girl, that's for their own child porn. It goes like this. Which we know is bullshit because of his other comments. Like thinking this is slightly illegal, right? Kutcher noting that the young age of his co-star. Okay, so if he really thought that, then he should have put his foot down and said, no, he's not going to do it, right? No, of course not. And, and then he's saying these other comments later. But, again, the production here is a problem because if he's thinking that, if he really legitimately was, these adults are the ones that are like, let's put this guy with the young girl because that's what we want to see. Us old men want to see like this, guy getting it on with this little girl. Yes. So it says Kunis said that the scripted kiss was the first time she ever had been kissed, and it occurred during the first week of filming on the retro comedy. I mean, how gross is that though, really? Your experience is acting and letting some old man kiss you. I mean, what the fuck? Like, see, they're objects, right? Men don't care. We're just going to do it, and we're going to make these two get together because we think it's hot, and they probably rewatch that episode all the time with the kid. Okay, he's like, she goes, I never kissed a guy. I was a 14-year-old girl, and I was extremely scared for my life. Yeah, see, do you think that's normal? That's not normal. Nobody should be forcing you into doing anything like that. That's like a sexual assault. Like, you didn't consent to it. Okay, so Kunis explained how Masterson, a kid can't consent to it. Where's your parents? Like, who's fucking okaying this shit? Kunis explained how Masterson offered to wager Kutcher. Now, here's where it gets good, because I was like, yeah, these two are son of a bitches. So, yeah, they're basically like wagering to each other, like, to rape her or something. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to consent to her or anything. Kunis explained how Masterson offered to wager Kutcher $10 to French kiss her. And Danny goes, dude, I'll give you 10 if you French kiss her, Kunis said, turning to Kutcher and asking, what if you stick your tongue in my mouth? And Kutcher said that Kunis was making it sound like it was really, Letra's consenting that he and Masterson had a little side bet going on the kiss. And then Kutcher and Masterson wagered him $20 that he wouldn't do it. And he said that he would say he would, saying it was consistent with what was called for in the script. And O'Donnell joked, and then the cops showed up and then you got arrested pretty much. Isn't she great? And then Kunis and Kutcher were at odds over whether he actually kissed her, and she said, I didn't let him. He never got his tongue in my mouth. And then Kutcher said he actually believed Kunis was 15 at the time of the exchange, adding that there's a big difference that 1 year makes the whole world change. 15 still a kid is disgusting, but they were betting to stick their tongue in a kid's mouth. And then, yeah, they were going on this thing. Now, she seems totally fine. I mean, her personality in here is just kind of like, oh, you know, with this garbage. But, that was pre any of this future stuff. Kunis and Kutcher is an issue. Yeah, so, okay. Yeah, and then they talk about the letter that they put out. Yeah, there's flags everywhere, guys. Alright, so going down to the comment section, which is atrocious. Oh my god. It's always the best part, though, of all this stuff. Because that's the public viewpoint, and the public is a sociopath. Alright, so let me go here. Like, the best thing... Okay. Hilarious that the Kutchers think they could walk back those letters. Even funnier is they wrote them thinking the public would never be privy to them. Like I said, I think Kutcher's the one that's like the bad guy in here. And she's kind of like the groomed kid. See, we're getting a little bit more into the story. That's why I was like, it was hard for me to go. I was like reaching with her because I'm like, I don't get it, dude. Like, what is going on with this? I was like, there's a million other guys out here. You picked the dumbest piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like, okay. Waiting for 18 before taking more of an interest in someone is a good thing. It's the law. Renfield. Your last name is like my perp. Better than going after a minor. I'm not blind. I know my granddaughter's gonna be trouble for her parents. She's a beauty. And others. As long as they keep their hands to themselves, most likely notice too. I love how this person comes in there go, well, that's not creepy. Yeah. He said this as a joke. A crass joke, but a joke nonetheless. A rapist joke? Yeah. They're betting money to stick their tongue in a woman's mouth that they didn't get consent to do. Didn't I read that? Just because you add a ha-ha after it doesn't make it a joke. Thank you. Whoever wrote that. I refuse to be angry over a 20-year-old comment. Okay, this isn't about comments. It's actually about acknowledging that someone is a sociopath and a fucking rapist and a predator. These are the comments that you ignored, Barbara. It's a woman. It's a woman saying this crap. Some of these names I can't tell because they're just like letters, so it could be anybody. Society has changed for the better in the last 20 years. The comment might have sounded disrespectful. No, it's not about being just disrespectful. It's about actually rape, because are they consenting to these actions? They're betting on doing something to another person that's criminal, and it's also a minor. But in all fairness, he did acknowledge that they were underage. Huh? Without the acknowledgement, it became a different comment altogether, and hopefully we all become wiser in the last 20 years. Are you kidding? It has to be a woman. I have a feeling that's a woman. Oh, we should give him praise because he said, oh, it's a minor, but then he made these comments about the other sexualizing several other minors. So do you really believe that he even really had a problem with it? These guys try to act like that to go, is it okay? Because I really want to rape this kid. Do you guys think it's cool? And they kind of like throw it out there like that. So why would he then later, just like the following year, start going, we're all waiting for these minors to get old enough? You know what I mean? That doesn't... Oh, so this has to be a guy. He's like, we grew up very conservative and would get made fun of for being prudish. You constantly told us teenagers to have lots of sex. So that has to be a male, because that was never told to women. So they told them to turn into rapists to men, right? So then they were all doing these crimes on us. There's a whole explanation for this, but conservatives are conservative Christians, and they are by default rapists. Like they're just default they're rapists. And he's saying it. He's being honest here. And it's true because I remember them all going around. They were picking on each other and the dads would get them raped into manhood. So they go, I'm more shocked that this comment is considered controversial. He said, waiting for her to turn 18, I am sure HD didn't care about the comment then or now. You don't think she would care that he's sexualizing her as a little girl? That's what was normalized to her, to have men sitting there talking about us in that way. And they're already sexualizing us as a minor. But he's trying to throw one at you saying, oh, isn't this kind of illegal? But I'm totally fine at 15. Well, the laws here were not 15 years old. We have an 18 law here. Creeps don't see anything wrong with it. That's right. And 28 of them got pissed off and only 24 thumbed them up. You're correct, though. Okay, trust me. There's a lot of predators out here. There's a lot of pedophile rapists out here. I'm disgusted at the production here. Does anyone want to be held responsible for things they said 20 years ago? People do change and grow as they mature. Sociopaths, there's no actual cure for that, so no. And one of their pals got arrested here. Did you kind of miss that? He's in prison now for 30 years. Right? Philly Billy? Oh, I thought it said brothel, United States. That's what it looks like. It says brothel. But look, you left out an R. Can him. He's awful. Yeah, he always has been. This was common saying back then. Commonly used by lad mags of the time. Exactly, Stephen. You were all rapists. And that's what was normalized. And it was only okayed by men because they were bullying me online. We were not okaying it just because you said it. Because you're all pedos. So fuck off. So then why is this problematic? Oh, wow. This is a woman. Okay. Said we're waiting until they were 18. I see nothing wrong with that. Oh, God. Oh, she's from Rancho Palos Verdes. She's in our state where these guys most likely never waited anything till 18, but the production had them do so. So, okay, so do you not see anything wrong with somebody looking at a teenager in a sexual way if they're an adult? Nothing wrong with that. So if you have a 12-year-old daughter and some creepy 40-year-old man says, oh, your daughter's really a cutie. I can't wait till she turns 18. That's you, and he's thinking about her in a sexual way. And perhaps going home and fantasizing about her while he beats his meat. Jura. Oh. You would almost think I said that. It wasn't me. Yes, so Sandy would put her kid at risk. Yes. It says, thank you for putting this into perspective for people who fail to understand why this was creepy and still is. Yeah, it was never okay with us, like them doing that. It was okay with the parents. I remember tons of people saying things like, oh boy, she's going to get all those guys when she, you know what I mean? And it's like at that point, it's like, oh, there's a cue. Like that guy might actually be into little kids. You know what I mean? These flags right here, these flags. And I remember us as kids, like, and I actually know where it came from now. So because these pedophile men were saying stuff like that, girls started saying jokes, but at the time nobody meant it. Like the women, it was kind of like, oh yeah, wait till he grows up, he's gonna be a hottie, you know, like doing this because they're mimicking pedophile male supremacist men. Now, if any of them actually went for some kids, you know, that's to be determined depending on other things with them. So, no, that was really bad that it was normalized because that happened. Because I recall it, and I was like, oh yeah, no. Are those girls pedophiles? No. Are any, like, we've made a lot of jokes. I was even talking about the Justin Bieber thing. I go, yeah, that was really bad because at the time it just like normalized that. So then you're okay with all the shit, and then so all the flags are just passing you, right? Because you're totally down with it, and you're desensitized. You don't even care. And then what if somebody goes and touches them, right? And it's one of your friends and they go to prison and you're like, I had no idea that, none of that happened. I didn't see no clue, and it's like, oh, you were the one also making jokes about raping them, So yeah, of course you missed it. You know what I mean? Like something like that. That was kind of the thing I was trying to explain for, this case here. So it says, if we go back to the days where everyone's not being politically correct. Oh, when we had women muted, is that what you mean? I love this comment. This comment's great, actually. Can I get this to load? It won't open up. But the beginning of this. If we go back to the days of everyone not being politically correct and bringing up what people did or said, everyone would be in real big trouble. That was the past before we realized we were not being sensitive or respectful to other people's feelings. No, this is about rape, honey. This is about pedophilia. This is about rapists, men, and sociopaths. Everybody would be in real big trouble. So you acknowledge that everybody did things really bad and they should have been in trouble. That's the thing. Should have been in trouble. You said everyone would be. Yes, that's what I said. The public is a sociopath and you're a pedo rapist. That's you too, Mum T. I don't know if Mum T is a male or female because it's M-U-M. But you acknowledge it. That's the same. That's what I'm saying. I go, they know they're all rapists. Like, what are you talking about? So trying to pretend because the times were different. It was not different in 2003. I wouldn't have came out. I wouldn't have had everybody outing me and doing the shit if it was fucking okay. Obviously, it was okay with you for people to rape me even into 2005. And I'm getting death threats from it. People wanting to beat me up, doing the shit. What is that? That wasn't us. That's your problem. That's your effing problem. It was not okay in those years. It was not okay in 91, 92, none of it. None of it. That's why I said, the comment section is like, what in the living, you know what I mean? And I'm telling you, I never went on a set where they had a kid macking out with an adult. Like, I can't even think of that happening. They purposely had me play the 15-year-old, and I was like 20 something. Even on 90210. Like, I'm not a high school kid or anything like that. Like, I'm trying to think of any other shows. I didn't do too many where I played a kid, but no. Because where you see where they're playing kids, everybody, at least in the background, is of age, typically. Unless they're doing, like, a movie scene. But like I said, then there's adults present. And they can only be there for so many hours and they get taken off set. So I don't understand how this went on. Because to me, it's new hearing that. Like, I know, like, these Disney things, like, they might do this thing where I don't know what they do on the Disney things. It's probably been all wrong, too. But they literally had an older guy do that to a kid on a set. Who cares if you're going to sit there and try to use that, oh, we got a TV show, so we're going to have this, like, legitimate, real older guy go macking down on this little 14-year-old. Are you kidding? But that's been common because when you go into the Brooke Shields stuff and all the other stuff, that shit's been going on. I was like, that's terrible, right? But I don't recall seeing it. It wasn't a thought, because I think maybe if I was on set and I seen it, I might be like, didn't know he was a creep, but Trump was worse, oogling at his daughter, making lewd sexual remarks and wishing he wasn't her father. They're all the same. Now it begins again, judging of stuff from 2 decades ago, the witch hunt. Witch hunt was about targeting women particularly, so I love when men have this problem, because they're like, oh shit, you guys are all the ones that did this crap, and that's what you're fearful of, and you should be, because you're a jackass. Okay, so then we're gonna go down here. So clearly he's a predator too. Yes. I like how most people hate this, because you know why they hate it? because they're predators too. And they're seeing it and they're like, what? I relate. I said these things. And so I don't want to get in trouble and go to jail for me raping somebody and some kids. Totally. I know the bad comments I've made because I've made some really off the wall bad jokes. Like, so it's like if somebody pulled it up, it's like I'm gonna own those things. You know what I mean? Like it's not gonna be this thing. And I'm saying, and why I understand like all these different things going on is because I actually have a mirror, and I know when I shouldn't have partaken in something, and so, but I'm saying like the normalization of that, and then that things were said. I'm thinking of a million different things that things were said that were maybe highly inappropriate in this situation. It doesn't not necessarily mean that you're into that thing, because I know there was a level of shock because we're shock rockers, right? You know, the whole thing about that. But realizing where it came from is really problematic. And so a lot of the stuff is a look back. Like, I know, oh yeah, because everybody else, it's kind of like follow the leader bullshit. So it comes out of men's mouth, and then it's like a cassette recorder from all these women, and then they just repeat it. It's totally like that. And it's like crazy. And they follow along, and it's all these women like cheering it on, like, what? You know, men were always like that. I always had my things groped. Like, what's a big deal? Yeah, I don't know. It's like some stupid shit like that. We all know why Hollywood's trying to cancel him. Why? Why would Hollywood be trying to cancel him? Hollywood loves him. Why print this? Because they just did. Oh, did you miss the whole other thing? Oh, mistakes. Whatever that fucking name is. From Omaha, Nebraska. Nebraska. You cooking out in the fucking fields out there, son of a bitch. It just well, how are they holding a grudge? He's sitting there being a hypocrite, and I pointed it out, and a whole bunch of people pulled this shit up. I love it. I go, I have a suspicion, because I'm better than the FBI. I'm a better profiler than any of these son of a bitches, because I know the language, and I'm credible. That's the thing. I'm not a psychic. I'm not pulling it out of my ass. I'm going by comments and a language that people with this personality disorder have. And so I pulled it up and I suspected it, and lo and behold, I was like, no, it's there, because it's impossible for somebody with that. I'm going to tell you this, you guys. It is impossible for somebody with that personality disorder to hide that type of brain, just generally. What you're seeing right now, I'll tell you what you're seeing right now. You're seeing somebody trying to mask. We're saying trying to mask, but they're not doing a good job, because the whole time before, they're like, he's such a great guy. He would never do this. I don't believe it. But then you go back here, right? And you see that they were acting about, right? And they're playing this angelic person right here now, but they were not back here because they're not under scrutiny, and it was normalized and okay to be this piece of shit, right? So this was the same thing with Johnny Depp stuff, where he started pretending a character. Well, he always has, okay? He doesn't really have a character. I mean, he's kind of personality-less, and he makes up these characters. But if you go back into his history, he's just flat out being the sociopath that he is. You know, I'm a dropout. I beat up people and fuck that place, and, you know, doing this thing, because it was like all the way back into the 90s, right? And there's this long history of it, and they interview him, so you get to see how his brain is operating, and he's just going on like a typical classic sociopath. I dropped out. I fucking started shooting up the place. I exploded this shit in the fucking yard. You know, this thing, I started doing a shitload of drugs. Fuck that. You know, who cares that I trashed up a place and got arrested several times? And that, who cares? I have money. I'll pay for it. That's how he said it. I go, that's a classic. Like, that's like the main definition of that. It's just, the public is a social. You guys all relate to that. That's a thing. So they have a language. I mean, it's really easy to see when they start, and he's not under scrutiny back then. So he's not trying to play a fake character, right? So when he started playing the fake character, I was like, oh God, and he's a bad actor doing it. But you know what I mean? They start doing this thing. And then another thing about them is that because it was from childhood abuse, they're stuck as a child, okay? And I was saying like how in females you could tell a lot more because they act like, little doll, they're like, yeah, doing this shit. Guys, when they act like children, are that little shit fuck that's, lighting the house on fire. You know what I mean? Like there's a whole different thing, but they're stuck as a kid and they start making all these like, bad child jokes, like something you wouldn't say as an adult, and it's immature, right? They're, because of the childhood abuse in that personality disorder, they're stuck as a little boy. And you'll hear people actually make comments about it, like, oh, they never grew up, they need to grow up, like that fucking little kid humor. Yeah, so you're picking up on it. It's just that males act differently than the female versions when they're stuck, going back to that childhood kid thing. Yeah. There's a lot of women saying this. Watch. I personally do not see the issue with his jokey comments when he was not that much older than them at the okay. 5 years is older. She's 14 and he was 19. California state law. Where are you from? You didn't put where you're from. Douglas, Isle of a Man. Maybe this is a guy presenting as a woman, but it could be a woman. But if you're a woman and you're saying that, I personally do not see the issue with men like wanting to rape me as a child. Women, you need your head checked, honey. I don't know, but that's pretty fucked up, and that's why we all got raped as kids. That's why I'm saying it goes crazy. There's a lot of comments from women, you guys. And it's coming out here vouching for them. They got the pea juice, man, big time. The MSP juice. That fucking pea juice is fucking poison, dude. But they have the women doing their bidding. They have to. Otherwise, these men would never be protected because they're a bunch of morons. But, let's see what else. I never liked the guy. He seemed to be a terrible actor. How did he get so popular? Funny. I think people thought he was hot. I think that was the whole thing. They didn't care about his brain. I think he was strictly on looks, to be honest. I mean, I don't think he's that, but I think that's the general view from the general public about him. He hit that dorky, stupid, like, dude from back when that they like to present. I don't know why. Did you guys saw a whole bunch of guys that were all dumb as shit, and they're like, they weren't like these hideously ugly looking guys, and then that all of them, all a group of them. I don't know, dude. I was like, that's not even. Because what was the relatability to the general population, right? Because they're looking at what sells, right? What the general population wants. They wanted an immature boy with ASPD. That's exactly what they wanted. Dude, let's go do all this stuff. Let's go like break into the girl's room and rape them and get them drunk. Yeah. That was literally like the 80s, 90s, 2000, right now. Like right now. Thing is like ripping their chops off. Cool, guys, let's all do it. We're a bunch of sociopaths. We're gonna go fucking do, what was that fucking concert? Woodstock 99. Let's rape everybody. Yeah, there they are. You guys all saw them. Beach bum. Thanks for reminding us of the good old days when we could say whatever we wanted. Oh, this poor male supremacist is upset they can't be pedo rapists right now and get away with it. And your name is Beach Bum. I think that's Pauly Shore. I was just talking about. I don't know, but that's like ridiculous. Remember, we aren't supposed to do or say stupid things when we were younger. Okay, but we're talking about now. It's almost like these people, I don't know. See, this is why I graduated early, because these people are dumb. And they cannot put this together. And I'm so glad that there's at least a small community over here that's getting it. Even the men. I have some guys up in here that are absolutely getting it. And terms of this, so regardless of your gender, they're getting it. Because what we're saying here, and these comments that they're saying here, would also apply if it was a man or woman saying it about a young boy, right? So like I said, I go, that was pretty common too, saying stuff like that just because men did it like this. So it was picked up from men and it was seen as normal. But then in addition with that, men were saying you can't rape little boys. So then it was like promoted. And then as that conservative guy was saying, he's like, yeah, it was promoted for us to go run out and have sex. I was like, yeah, exactly. That was not the message given to little girls. We would be sluts, hookers, prostitutes. That definitely was not the message to females. No. I think these people read the story. It wasn't offensive then or now. He wants to wait until the girl is 18 so he can ask her out. He would ask her out right then if the law said it was okay in California. She's 14, you know? Well, at least at that time. And then the others was 15 and 17. That's problematic. I think it would be problematic if he said, we're going to not wait. Yeah, well, they didn't wait. That's the truth of it. They did not wait at that time. They were drugging people and raping us as children. But you see him about, because they were already plotting it before you even turned 18. They were already making stake like on us without even consulting us. And then they did stuff. They said that all men wanted that. I go, yeah, they're all rapists. I go, they're all pedo rapists. They were all waiting. They're sitting there going, okay, I don't want to go to jail. That's the only thing that's stopping them. If anybody got stopped from not doing that, but no. And you kind of missed the issue of them on set. Like, okay, that's a production issue. Maybe Scientology cult made them write the letters of support. No, the whole time they were them and the wife were being shitheads, and they were saying that, you know, yes, I understand there's some victims here, but he's our friend, and you know, we're gonna support him, and we hope it's not true. Okay, goodbye. Like, they were doing that. That was the whole time before it. You hope it's not true. There's a bunch of victims here saying it's true. And so then they said, then we go and support him. Like, that's an additional thing, right? Like, you're going to have an action like that. I mean, you don't need to say anything like that. But then after they find out that he gets, 30 years, they put the shit in. And so now it's kind of them going, we don't really agree with this outcome. And the court system is a joke just generally, because they typically let these guys go anyway because everybody's a pro-rapist. So shit, there must have been a lot in this case, because they hardly ever get 30 years. I mean, he deserves 30 years. He deserves not to get out because he's a general predator that's a serial predator that is not actually rehabilitatable. The serial predators, no. Sociopaths have no cure. No cure. None. They will say anything to do anything. To be fair, he wasn't much older back then. 5 years is definitely... So now we're debating, he's 5 years older, so it's not that bad. California, again, has laws. 18. I love how everybody says fuck the laws, but you're in the United Kingdom, so England allows you to rape some little girls. So in his mind, what he's thinking, let's go here, because you need to understand the mindset of these little pedo rapists in other countries. In England, the age of consent is 16, honey. So to him, when they're saying 14 and 16, the guy's all, it's close enough. So then these guys in England are raping even younger because of that little area there that they keep trying to sneak up on, right? So to him, reading that story is like, What? Here we can rape 16 years old, you know? What, I mean, 15, 16, see? That's why they're saying that. I can tell you every fucking comment here of why they're saying it. These people should be pro Jeffrey Epstein then, because that was his mindset. He's like old enough, and what's 13, and why are you having problems with Jeffrey Epstein but not yourself? I find that really interesting. I go, he got his huge clan of people because they were all you. They had a groupie child human trafficking ring because of all of you. Anybody that blames a child for any adult man on them is a piece of shit socio. It's all you. You're not taking responsibility and accountability for your actions as an adult. Very easy, guys. So what I would do, if I could, I would go after the projection for grooming. Some bullshit, because that, it shouldn't have happened at the time of. I'm just like, I don't know why people think that's okay. We're acting? That's not acting. That's actually legitimately getting a guy on a child. He raped her child mouth. That was not a choice. That is like an intimate action that people technically do with people like they get into a relationship with, right? Why would you have a child's first experience with some adult man on a set just so you can make money? Because you guys want to tape some child porn for yourself in the back. You know what I mean? Like, think about it. That's not cheat. That's not act. It's not fake. It's like a real action that they did to another little girl. And so my thinking about this, that actually might be the explanation as to why this is all normalized to her, because that was already set up for her like that. Oh, it's totally okay. It's just this, we're going to normalize this and it's totally fine. She should dump that shit, dude. Get the fuck out of there and go to therapy. Because I don't think this would have happened had that stuff not have happened. It's just like more explanation to the story. So before I can get like a clear-cut idea of the character there, that is definitely something that was against her while I was a kid. That's effed up. Oh, here we got London. Okay, these are all the pedos from the UK. Sorry, but so what? He was paying her a true compliment and stating that he did not see underage sex as acceptable. Oh, man. The shelving of these socios is amazing. These are male supremacists, by the way. They're all over the globe. Sydney, Australia. What did you say? Kutcher is deep in the Hollywood scene. The truth about these individuals eventually comes out. Good for you. Actually, some people from Australia are really on top of this stuff just because they had that Onion Boy. There was a lot of women out there trying to fight all this too. So I've seen mostly good on Australia, but you never know. You know what I mean? There's always that mix of these idiots because of that stuff. So there's actually no country that's great. The Netherlands keeps trying to paint themselves as the great parents of all, but then they're a bunch of rapists. So I'm like, oh, really? Those kids are happy being raped? I didn't know that. Yeah. Yeah, no, there's really isn't a particular region that I found yet that was actually exceptionally great on this topic of male supremacy. No. You could have a queen all day, honey. She had a king and she's evil Karen. So, that in that country, why is it you could go rape some little girls? Okay, so in all these countries, Scotland. I was making fun of Is it Scotland? Yeah, I think I was making fun of Ireland. No, Ireland. Where was it? Where they had the wigs, dude, and they're like, rape isn't a big deal. So I was like, holy shit, what the fuck? No, there is like literally none. I haven't found one. And there's places that are way worse than this, and this is bad. But there is places that are even far. Seriously, where's the humor? Yet, fine line for Leo to date barely legal. At least they're legal. If they want to be used as an object, and they know they're being used as an object, but if they're legal, what is? I mean, okay, unless they're hitting ages where people want to make it illegal. Ashton from Iowa. I live here. Nothing special about him. Everyone seems to forget how he and Danny Boy were partying a lot. And screwing anything they could. In the 25 years he's known him, he's a puke. Oh, wait. We got to hear Amber here talk. Like, who's Amber Wynn from Newton? They were partying a lot. So here you go. This is where the problem is going to be. Because Generation X is a bunch of predator, rapist, pedophiles, okay? I grew up with them. I know exactly how they were being when we grew up. At these parties, they would drug us and rape us, right? As kids. So as adults, if any kids were at the party, they would do it too. So I have a little inkling. As an inkling, I have a little, I suspect, and this is reading off their characters here, that both of them did that conduct at different times, because this happened in the Feldman story as well with the drink thing, where they were setting up people to get them drunk and knock them out with, what was it? Oh, Everclear. So the trickery there was to have those guys drink water, right? So they were drinking water. They purposely did it. So this is the thought out, calculated thing. This is a very ASPD thing to do, okay? The other PD that ever did this, okay? This is not a sane person making a mistake. This is a person that has a personality disorder called ASPD, where they are criminally minded. And so what they do, he plotted it out to put Everclear in a shot glass so people think, maybe it's just vodka or some other thing, right? And then, so he gave it to a bunch of people. We don't know who, because he didn't out the people that he did it to, but he kept doing this stuff. And he gives it to them, and they drink it, and all of a sudden they knock out, because it's like way more than you would ever have on a normal shot or anything. And he's sober as day because he's drinking water. And so then after that, then he preys on them. And that is exactly why I questioned the Vanilla Ice story, because I'm like, did that happen to you and you just don't want to talk about it? Like, because you would be a victim if that happened. Because there was a rumor flying around that him and Corey Feldman were macking out in a hot tub. And I'm like, did that happen? Because it wouldn't make me think he's gay because it happened. And even if he was, it wouldn't matter. But the conduct that was going on right there that I found out from, investigating that thing, they were doing that. Yeah. And it wouldn't be just somebody by himself, because he said some other person told him to give him this idea. Now, he could be making up that another person told him to, brought this up. But it is very possible it was several people here doing that, because that was a common thing to do, was to knock people out, regardless if it was just from drinks or if it was from a date rape drug. So that's what Danny here was doing, and also a whole bunch of other people. I mean, it was a common thing where at the time when this happened to me, I didn't know much about date rape drugs. So it was always like, I might have been really drunk, but I don't know how that happened so fast, because I just came over to the house and I had a drink, and all of a sudden the next thing you know, it's the next day, and I don't know how that happened. You know what I mean? Like, you had that going on because you were not educated on the date rape drug. Mostly in the early 90s, they didn't really discuss that thing. And the men were out here all over the place doing that shit. And then it happened again in 2005. I didn't have any incidents between then and there, because I was very particular who I was dating. And then I still got an asshole at a later date. I was talking about him. That was one that actually the flags were prior, and I should have dumped him actually before this other incident happened. And I go, the guy was just making up a story. Like, he's like overacting. But I was saying I should have dumped him prior because the flags were there and the family was saying that I should have dumped him. Like the family members were saying I should have dumped him. And I was saying, yeah, I should have dumped him. And then it said it turned into this other thing. And I go, no, it was in reverse because the guy was such an asshole. And no. Then, yeah, so, but even still, it didn't happen there. And then later, it was like, all of a sudden, I had all this bad stuff happen. And then finally I go, okay, I'll go on a date. Like, I haven't been on one in a while since that stupid ass musician guy, right? And he's a jerk too. So then I go on that date with that other guy. And then that happens. Like, I get knocked out. And then everybody's covering it up. Like, everybody's covering it up. It's not me covering it up. I went to go tell somebody. I go, that dude right there, like, did this. And then they started in this whole thing. I never heard that before. I was like, well, you're hearing it now. I don't know why people respond that way. You're getting told something right now. And so then, well, I heard he, like, is a womanizer. I was like, well, then that tells you that he believes in women as objects. So he doesn't care if he knocks them out or whatever he fucking does. So I'm telling you. And then it turned into this thing where people want to start making threats to me. And then they started treating me like shit. And then they all started blackballing me from everything and trashing all my music stuff and doing all this stuff. And now nobody even wants to talk to me. So I was like, because of these men, it's not because I did something. It's because they're fucking rapists and they don't want to go to jail. And so this whole community of entertainers here in Hollywood come out and they start fucking protecting them. And they're all friends with TV movie people as well. Because they do movies together, as you see. And with the actors and stuff. So they have a circle here. And so they gang up and they turn into bullies. And that's criminal behavior. That is not a sane, normal person acting about. Those are sociopaths. Those are people that have a personality disorder. Because nobody acts that way that is sane. I'm sorry. And so they're way off on their definition of that. So because that happened and nobody is going to get arrested for it, then fuck all men. We're not going anywhere with them because that means it's just a promotion that they can do that shit to me and knock me out anytime. And she's ugly and she was jealous of me and she thought I was like Jessica Simpson. And she kept making these comments like that. I was like, why are you jealous of Jessica Simpson? I don't know her. Just 'cause we share, like I said, we shared a guitarist and she's calling me that. And I'm like, is that degrading me? I think she's pretty. Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but it's her telling me that she's jealous of me because of my looks, because that woman is hideously ugly and fat. And so she has an inner problem with her self-esteem, and she wants to be with a guy that's a known rapist. Like, why would you want to go out with a guy that literally just did that? Like, seriously. And he doesn't like her. That was the other thing about it. Like, he was trying to tell me some other story about her and was, like, degrading them. Like, so that's why I was like, what? And then, so she's off being this, like, fangirl because she's doing all this work for them for their website. And she wanted a date with him, and he said something like there was a story to it, and it was so ridiculous, but he was, like, kind of degrading her in the story. Because I didn't know who she was, because she popped up, and I go, oh, who's that? And just wondering, because they're like, oh, yeah, she does my website thing or something weird, and, like, I don't know, there was some weird story to it, and then she wanted to go out with them or something, and they didn't want to. But I didn't think much of it, like, at the time. It's just like, how many guys did that happen to? Like, who's gonna come after me? You should go after him. Are you trying to date me? Like, what's your fucking problem? But, I mean, the minute I hear some guy rape some girl, I think at that point I'd be like, yeah, I don't want to go out with them. Like, what idiot is that? You know? But that girl's a socio too, because she's sitting there making violent threats. So, yeah, that's why I said, I go, these people are not safe for the public. That's why I said, I go, she has no self-esteem, dude. She's all jealous. I have a lot of women get jealous of me, and I don't even get it. Like, I don't even get it. Like, honestly, it's just like, I don't want your fucking man. Like, you could have him. The crap of the universe. Mostly that guy. I mean, it's like, it was weird. Though everybody, how they were acting. Because even the lady from the other camp, it's like, you're not dating him. Why are you acting like that? Her first thing was to protect it. I mean, really. I mean, that's her first response. They were shitty as fuck, dude. I go, I've known these people forever. I was like, have you ever heard me even say that about... I mean, there was a bunch of other guys up in here that we could say stuff about. Like I said, I go, you know, some people made some inappropriate jokes over here, but that wasn't really the issue to me at the time. You know, I get, like, they're just jokes. I mean, maybe they meant something in between it, but nothing happened, and that was it. Like, but beyond that, like, you never heard me say, like, that guy raped me or something like that. I was like, because we didn't date. And he did that, then that's what happened. You know, I would say. That's what they're scared of. They're scared of the honesty about how they really are being. He is a major force behind stopping of trafficking of children. Are you kidding? Now you're bringing up crap to tarnish his reputation. Oh, here we go. We got the QAnon son of a bitches that are like, the pedos are after him to take him down. Can you tell me who he actually rescued? He actually made all that up. I remember going through these stories. That's why I don't talk about him, because he's a freakazoid. He made up some story like he saved all these people, and they're like, we went to look at the statistic of like any of that. He didn't do shit. I was like, yeah. Okay, this guy was a jackass and tried to high road over Demi Moore after she made some allegations in her book. Okay, I didn't read her book. Now it seems Demi was right, and Ashton and his bully wife can disappear embarrassed. Okay, I don't know what happened. I was kind of questioning like why Demi even like dated him. But, because she's older, right? And I was like, I don't know if there was, like, I don't know. Maybe she felt younger. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to, like, make sense of why she even went for him. But maybe he's, like, the predator type. And maybe, I mean, even though she's older, it could be, like... I don't know much about Demi Moore's personality. I thought, you know, like, I knew her, like, mostly when she was with, wasn't it, the other guy. And then somehow this happened, and I was just like, oh, okay. Not even that, just something about it. Anyway, but I don't know why. So I don't know her personality thing or nothing. And then I'm going to have to look this up because I don't know what she said. And so I've been trying to make sense of this. So if you go, yeah, his bully wife. Yeah, so his wife's having this fit. He saved my life. You need to let him free. And I'm like, oh my God, this happened on another case. And these women need a therapist. Like, we don't care what they did for you. These people are a danger to other people, to the public, and everything else. And that should not be a reason to let a predator out, you know, or get away with something because they saved your fucking life. Yeah, that's how they've been going on. This is my friend. I've known him for 20 years. And we're both a bunch of assholes. So, you know, I think that it's okay for him to be an asshole. And it's okay, you know, you should expect to have these adult men take you as a kid. Yeah. But you'll notice in all their backgrounds, they all have abuse. They've all been raped by other adult rock stars and whatever and blah, blah. That's not my problem. They need to go to a therapist and not okay that shit. And not sit there and promote it on me. Cancel this fool and his annoying sidekick. His little child victim. I was like his child victim. It would be nice if she finally came to it and was like, yeah, you know, I was groomed, and then dump his ass. You know, she could save herself that way. I was like, she could save herself that way. He appears to be having his own 9/11 today. As if he was that tall. Okay, so let me... Okay, wait. The world has gone mad. Canada. Hey, Canada, you gave us fucking Nygaard. Are you friends with Nygaard? Because that would be the guy out here being okay with children. 16-year-old age thing too, by the way, guys. So, yeah. Case point why they would do that. Anyone who supports canceling someone over comments made 20 years ago should be canceled themselves. New York. New York's pro-raping 17-year-olds. Okay. I'm trying to memorize all the states and the countries of what their age of consent is. Because you're going to see why. Because Olsen's would be old enough for them. I remember in 1992 to 93 when Michael Jackson, arguably the biggest superstar in the world at the time, billions of fans globally, was first accused of it. Wasn't it in 93 that he was? Because I'm pretty sure at the time of our incident, he hadn't been busted yet, to my memory. It was like right after it. Because I remember going back home, and then my dad said some information about that and the investigation. Okay, so it says, and was first accused of inappropriate behaviors with young boys. Initially, no one believed it because no one wanted to believe it. Beloved Michael on the scene since he was I don't know, little boy. Most of us have either grown up, watched him grow up with the sweetest voice, innocent, childlike shyness. Literally, billions did not believe those accusing him. Here it is 30 years later, and if the person accused isn't hung before they can be tried, anyone who doesn't want them hung is hung too. It's out of control. What? That doesn't make sense. Actually, anybody who thought he like did it back then was threatened with getting killed and violence. They were being threatened to get killed, the victims and everything else, even to this day. Like, I find comments all the time. So your perspective of that is unreal. They actually considered him innocent, that he didn't do anything, even though even today they're still getting sued. You do know that suit's still going on right now? Yeah. There's no one innocent childlike shyness. That's just bogus. He was actually quite calculated and did a lot of drugs actually in that period, and which is the time of his friends running a drug ring. 20 years ago looked different. For instance, Eminem had songs that mentioned a lot of female stars, Hilary being one of them. We Made You and Ass Like That. Hilary Duff's not quite old enough, which was wrong, but accepted. Yeah, I mean, I would say it depends who you're talking to, because like when I listened to his stuff back then, I didn't know the lyrics. Like there was actually a lot of stuff where I didn't know what the hell he was talking about because he raps pretty fast. And I didn't listen to Hilary Duff, so it wouldn't, you know how it wouldn't click? It's like, oh, how old's Hilary? But also, yeah. No, I mean, it shouldn't have been okay, no. Which was wrong, but accepted. So you're right, it was accepted by the general population. Even if they were aware of it, yeah. Hugh Hefner was idolized, and every girl had a bunny necklace and a tattoo, and most wanted to be a playmate girlfriend. Not me, but at a later date when it was after they tried to do photos of me, their pals over there. The show came on, right? And I liked the show. It was kind of like the Trump thing where I was like, oh, I like The Apprentice because Gene Simmons is getting fired, you know? Kind of enjoyed that. But it was like that because the show came on and I actually kind of enjoyed the show. I don't know why. It had this weird like thing about it where it got me in a good mood. I don't know. I just don't even ask me why, because I never wanted to be in Playboy and I turned that other thing down. And I didn't want anything to do with that world of people. But at this one point, I became a fan of their thing. And I was just watching their shows and stuff. And I got a few items that they had. But somebody stole my bunny shoes. Dude, I had these fucking white Playboy tennis shoes. And the last time I seen it was when I moved. So I was like, I don't know if that fucking driver took it. Like I had somebody do my... they were moving my stuff, and I was like, somebody took them because they're hard to find now. So I don't know how much they're worth, but they, yeah, I had a whole like tracksuit thing and fucking, somebody bought it for me. I didn't actually pay for it. Somebody bought it for me, and then, I bought a few things that were from each of the girls, like they sold stuff, and so like items, but then when I found out later that they were not even paid for that stuff. It wanted nothing to do with their universe, though. Technically, it was just me being like, I was like, oh, this show's cute, actually. I kind of had to watch it. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why. I do not know why. I guess because they just put them out as likable people. And I'd rather see them. Like, the girls were like the main thing of the story versus here's me having you know? Because I don't like him. I would never be with him. Had a size 0 on one half saying so and so needs a sandwich, and the other half a size UK 12 to 14 saying so and so mom tum. Nowadays magazines are more subtle. When my grandma was young, it was Marilyn Monroe on magazine with their measurements as ideal and laxatives were suggested. Wow. Basically a lot has changed, but only on the outside. Diets and weight are still pushed, and bad Kim K, Ozempic, apple cider vinegar, and green tea, while TV shows play repeats of my 500-pound life. Songs still contain suggestive lyrics. WAP kids were singing it on social media, but that was accepted. Things are the same underneath, except more social media and more hypocrisy. Actually, it's interesting, the food portion, as I went through this other thing with the child abuse, there was actually like there was more than several different types of food abuses on children. And they keep doing this thing where people have to eat together. It's really interesting. I was like, well, if you want to spend time with the family, it wouldn't be chowing down. Like after dinner, I can see, yeah, you want to spend time with the family, play a game together, do these things, right? But they had a thing where they did food abuses, such as you get punished, you don't get like food if you're bad, or you don't get, dessert if you're bad. Then what was the other ones? There was a whole bunch of them. Yeah, like you're fat, and they would make sure and then throw you on a diet. Those abuses were done on children. Just general eating disorders, like we're gonna force you to eat your entire plate. That was another one. There was a number of them. And it was about power and control, right? So it gets equated with power and control and abuses. And then food is really a weird area. And where it hits the most, like women, right? Men do get eating disorders as well. But the majority of like anorexia and stuff like that happens with women. So there would be a reason for that, right? So they controlled women and their bodies and then punished them. And so I'm assuming like most of the food abuses, like a lot of them were probably more so even towards women. So then, because like maybe the mom, all this other stuff, right? And then it gets more promoted from that side of things where they're trying so hard because they're, maybe seemingly like a narcissist. But it can be just general like bad body image, positive, like they don't have it. And also what's going on, and I've mentioned this, is body dysmorphia, and it can happen so quick. Like I don't, mostly with somebody that has something like that, it's like if you're online for like even just like a few minutes and you start seeing like a tank of pictures of somebody that had their lips injected like a million times, you start seeing everybody with it. And then you go into the mirror and you're like, oh my God, is something wrong with my face? Like it totally does this thing where you think that's normal. And then you look at yourself and then you might think that you need to go get that done. So every time they do all this plastic surgery, I mean, they could do whatever the hell they want, but it's not like it's particularly their fault. But what happens is if you start seeing everybody doing that, then it starts confusing your brain. It's really interesting. But yeah, then they're not happy with how they look, and then the more they do it, they're never happy, and then they have to keep doing stuff, and then they start looking weird, and then you can't really reverse it, and then they get mad if you point it out, and then, you know what I mean? Because their whole purpose is, I want to look better, and it's like they're telling you, you look like shit now, they're like, stop picking on me, So yeah, but they were fine before, and then whatever, they don't even look like themselves anymore. They were not happy. They're not happy with who they are. They think that they'll be happy by changing that outside thing, But in reality, where do you end? Where does it stop, right? Because you never will be. So I wouldn't want somebody to be attracted to me just for that. You know what I mean? Because it's just like, is that where it ends? You know what I mean? Like, I could be a real shitty person on the inside. And I think they would be because they're not happy with who they are. So I don't know, you guys. Like, there's a lot to it. Like, there's some people that I get, like, they would do it, but then there's another group of them where it's just like, it's just too much. It's too much. I mean, are they promoting? I mean, are they pushing it? They're pushing it. I don't watch them, so I don't. I just see them every once in a while in the media, but I don't watch like their stuff, so I don't. Being sexually positive, like as a woman, is fine as long as people are adults. Raping kids is never fine. So, but again, the definition of kids, you're asking a bunch of countries where it varies from like age 12 to 18. Well, there's one country, well, it used to be 20. I don't know if Chile's still 20, but anyway, they're all a bunch of rapists. So as they come in here, you're from the United Kingdom. So you guys allow 16-year-olds. So you reading this and you're reading some guy talk about a 17-year-old, it wouldn't mean much to you. He and his wife were wrong in supporting Masterson. But no one had a problem with this other comments up until now, right? Not the producers, not the directors, not the audience. So why suddenly have these remarks become so unbearable? Pile on the attacks and cancel the dude. Wokeness gone mad. Okay, you were making a point up until about that. How did they come to this conclusion? These people are going to get an F, okay? They're going to get an F. They're going to get an F in school. They did. Okay, so how did you... So this is socios, like through and through. Like, I don't even get how they went that way, right? So watch this. Let's read this again. He and his wife were wrong about supporting Masterson, but no one, the public, right? No one had a problem with this other comments up until now. Not the producers were calling out the right people. Not the directors calling out the right people. Not the audience. Correct, right? Doesn't that mean that they're all a bunch of pedos? And it's like, so why suddenly have these remarks become so unbearable? You can't answer that? And it went to the whole opposite direction. Pile on the attacks and cancel the dude. Wokeness gone mad. Okay, so the wokeness thing is a racial term. Education. Okay. It was never okay to want to rape some kids. It was never okay for the producers to do that. It's talking about the society is a bunch of socios that were a bunch of pedo rapists. So why were you okay with it at the time of? Why were you guys okay with it at the time of? The producers and the directors should have been doing that. And I'm saying, because when I worked in television, I'm shocked that it even happened, because that's not okay even then. You guys are okay with it. Don't speak for me. I didn't see it. I saw it. It's possible I'd just be like, these stupid son of a I would have been mad. Like, I know me. It's just like annoyed. Like the annoyance of it. But then what can I do, right? Because everybody's acting this way. It doesn't mean that nobody was not mad about it. But you guys run the fucking show. You're from the United States. You're from, I don't know where. At Taraxi. That sounds fake. Education helps humanity. Being a piece of shit abuser, pedophile, rapist was never okay. Just because white male supremacists want to rape a bunch of kids in the name of God doesn't make this okay. and coming to, I'm trying to think of how you would say it. It's just the education and knowing that that's bad. Yeah, so that's gone mad. Being educated. I know for Christians it's a bad thing to be educated. So I'm just trying to get your point. You would get an F in school, okay? Because you were really going somewhere with that. And then you went there to go slam everybody for pointing it out that it's bad? They should have said it was bad at the time, but again, that's the thing, and that is a problem, and it was a problem then, and it's crazy how much the public is a piece of shit that keeps calling women liars, as you see, and they're off doing that and doing bets to want to stick their tongue down a kid's throat. Okay, so no. I told you that was going good up until that ending. It's so weird. They take a fork in the road and it's like Path City. I'm like, I have no idea. Like they got it. Like they halfway got it. It's like, yeah, what? Why were they okay with that? Okay, and Demi Moore was 15 years older than him at the time, and he made that comment, and he was with her for 8 years. The DM trying to stir public sentiment. Okay. They are 15 years apart. I don't know when they got together. If he's legal, we can't say shit. Visiting my parents one day, I was an adult. This person keeps posting because wait. Yeah, they put he was of legal age. Yeah. I mean, he's beyond legal age. Like I said, there's some questions like on a certain on the teen years to the 21 years where people are talking about. So he's well beyond that. So I think it's pretty safe to say like that was okay. Like, I don't know what it'll be in 100 years, but for now, that's an adult. Like, he's an adult. Okay, so this person's like, visiting my parents one day, I was an adult, moved out, and as I walked in the front door, my dad, nearly 40 at the time, says, the Olsen twins are 18. Was my dad wanting to fornicate with the Olsens? No. Did my dad, how do you know? Like, your dad could have been, like, having a jolly old time to the Olsen twins as they were growing up. Did my dad want to see them naked? No. How do you know? It was a joke, and I knew it, just like I would joke. I wish Ricky Martin would let me try to turn him when he came out and broke the hearts of every female between... Oh, you're a female. Okay. Broke every female between 16 and 45. Not me. People made stupid, inappropriate jokes. No one got butthurt. Oh, that's a bad use of words here. No one was offended. He was, but we have questions about Ricky's conduct just generally, but that's not good. Okay, they just laughed, and if they thought it was funny, or didn't laugh if they thought it was dumb. Social media is literally ruining this world. No, social media is making people smarter, believe it or not. Social media is seeing people for the shitty fucking son of a bitches that they always have been. That I've been saying, I go, they're just shit humans. And, you know, all these people are like, oh no, most people are good. There's only a few bad apples out here. And it's just like, really? I go, how come every person I met was a piece of shit rapist and a son of a bitch fucking male supremacist? You know what I mean? Like, it's like this is this thing, and they're abusive, right? They're extraordinarily abusive. And then you make social media, and then there they are. And then you're just seeing the global scale of the pile of shit that it is, the world. That's really it. And I think it's funny that you don't know what your dad is having fun to. Okay, that's gross, and I wouldn't want to question it. You know what I mean? If my dad made a joke like that, I would probably look at him funny, like, what? But why is he saying that to you? Are you into little girls? Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, why would your dad be saying it to you, a female? The Olsen twins are 18. It sounds like something you would say to your son, right? Was my dad wanting to fornicate? You betcha. Why are they on his mind? Did my dad want to see them naked? Maybe so. Like, how do you know? They're like, no. I'm sitting here thinking, how do you know what your dad wants to see naked? Are you guys that close? Like, it was a joke and I knew it. Really? You know it's a joke. I think he was extraordinarily excited. That's why I brought him up to you. What a weird thing to say. Just like I would joke, I wish Ricky Martin would let me try to turn him. But what did you just say here? Because you like Ricky. You wanted to be with Ricky. You wanted to have sex with Ricky. That's why you made the joke. So your dad is telling you, I wanted to have sex with them twins, dude. I want to see him naked. You're disgusting. What the hell? These people. Yeah, social media is showing me all the freaks out here. For sure. But it helps us understand and what to target here. That's wrong with y'all. I'm not calling these women liars. I don't know all the evidence that's been submitted. Imagine people looking into your past trying to find something offensive that you've said. No, I actually find my offensive things and bring it up myself. Because I like to analyze it. Because I'm like, why did I say this here? I got in trouble for saying, slavery was so long ago. I said some really stupid comment one day, and boy, like, they let me have it, and they were right. They were right. Like, what am I gonna go fight them? It's called me not thinking. It's like those happen, but they set me straight, and. Okay, so if it happens, it happens. So we just tackle it head on. He should have just kept his mouth shut, but now he will get it from all angles. And funny that Sharon Osbourne just said the other day how he's one of the rudest people she ever met. I could see those two battling it out. Sharon has a likable quality to her, but she's also a major problem, and she would have protected this situation too, I believe. Is he rude? He probably is rude. I think he's a fake person. Like he's in his recent comments of him trying to he's presenting himself in a false way, how he's not really in private. As a lot of men do, by the way, but yeah, no. Because early on he was being more in the open, being a shithead. What did he do with Demi Moore? I'm kind of like really kind of interesting. Okay, so Moore writes that the man raped her. For decades, I didn't think of it as rape, but rather something I caused, something I felt obligated to do because this man expected it from me. The man later insinuated Moore's mother who was privy to what occurred. How does it feel to be whored by your mother for $500? What? The man asked her, while Moore is not convinced her mother knew what transpired that day. She doesn't condone her mother handing over the key to their apartment where the two would be unsupervised. That's not what a mother does. That's massively criminal. Like, what the? In 2003, Moore met eventually her third husband in a New York hotel room where friends gathered before having dinner, and it was like nobody else was there. They stayed up the entire night still talking, telling each other about life stories and understanding everything the other person was saying. She described an ease between us, a deep comfort, and a lot of electricity. I can't imagine him fucking... He's like the type to be like, yeah, everything you say. I'm totally thinking of something else. She insisted the two couldn't feel the 15-year age gap. When I met Ashton, it almost felt like a do-over. Like I could just go back in time and experience what it was like to be young with him. See, that's kind of weird. So, like, it's more of something to do with that. Still, the difference in age made for at least one memorable story. And she was informed second husband that she was traveling with them, and you are such a good mom. Assuming the 70s show stars present was for their 3 daughters' enjoyment. I think that I've been responsible for so much in my life, and all of a sudden this window opened up where I was safe. I had money, and he loved my children. It wasn't something he feared. Oh God, I wouldn't want him around my kids. I'm just saying. Oh my God. Okay, Kutcher said he didn't know if alcoholism is a real thing. Moore writes, she began drinking thinking Kutcher wanted the girl who could have a glass of wine at dinner or do a tequila shot at a party. I didn't think this is a kid in his 20s who has no idea what's had no idea what's talking about. I didn't think I have nearly 2 decades of sobriety under my belt, and that's a huge accomplishment. Instead, I cast about justification for his argument. He was trying to get you drunk when you were an alcoholic? The fuck? Later in their marriage, Moore notes he became less and less present, and Moore found herself going into contortions to try to fit the mold of the woman he wanted his wife to be. In an attempt to save her marriage, which she included threesome, Moore's... Oh, is that his idea? Moore said the act of opening up their union brought with it total false sense of power and called it a mistake. Yeah, so, okay, there is a self-esteem issue in this. But he's a sociopath. That's really interesting. The dynamic. Okay, so yeah. Trying to fit the mold of the woman he wanted his wife to be. But, I mean, I'm getting it that it's his idea for threesome? And doing all this shit? And getting her drunk? I told you he's dumb as shit. He's like, I don't know if alcoholism is a real thing. See? I told you. Oh my God. Oh my God. You didn't meet my dad. It's a real thing. You didn't meet some of these other people out here. It's a real thing, dude. And boy, are they bad. I never knew this, so wait. I can't even bring fully to words how lost, empty, desperate, confused I was. I really lost sight of everything that was right in front of me, which is the family I had, and I think the weight that it put on Ashton. It's kind of a natural thing to pull back when somebody's clinging too tight. Moore writes of the time when she nearly drowned in a hot tub after a night of heavy drinking in Mexico, celebrating turning 45. And Moore says Kutcher was furious following a detox from Vicodin she abused after dental surgery. And she said she felt like she'd lived through a war and received no compassion from her husband at the time. He's a socio. He can't do it. Oh, perfect. Yeah, he can't do it. He can't give you that, you guys. And maybe Mila over there is having some of the same things, and she's something self-esteem. I felt like he was angry with me for having this problem in the first place, but you made your bed, now you have to lie in it. Moore writes of two of Kutcher's alleged affairs, the second just ahead of their 6th wedding anniversary, which appeared to be the final straw. He moved out in 2011, and she released a statement at the time, says, as a woman, a mother, and a wife, there are certain values and vows that I hold sacred, and it's in the spirit that I've chosen to move forward with my life. And then reached out for Kutcher to comment. On Tuesday, Moore acknowledged the excruciating agony she felt following their split stemmed from more than just their demise. I really know that there are parts of what occurred with this relationship ending that were a level of devastating for me that was just about the relationship. It was really about my whole life, and it was about being the 2-year-old who wasn't safe, and that really represented that I'm not lovable and I'm not deserving, and that's not about him, it's about me. The part of being with them, but him being that way, he's a socio, so they're always going to make you feel that way. They're always going to make you feel that way. I just want people, that's why I'm trying to educate on that, because it's like, first of all, he never really had any empathy for you, and he's great. I guess he's great at like just I guess the whole time he was probably just like, I just want to get with her. And then he probably, I don't know what the hell's going on here. And then at a point, like I said, the main one is like him going, I don't really believe, alcoholism is real. Like at that point, you should go, this guy is very not educated, and mostly as somebody who fought really hard to not drink. Like he's like he got her back into drinking. Am I reading that right? He's a piece of shit. That's not somebody that cares about you. Like, what the hell? The dude's an idiot. Despite a strong star, Morton found herself comprising her love, throwing away years of sobriety and inviting others into her marriage. When Kutcher said he didn't know if alcoholism is a real thing, right, she began drinking, thinking Kutcher wanted the girl who could have a glass of wine at dinner, tequila shot at a party. Yeah. All he wants is what he wants for himself. So he's like, I don't care that you have a drinking problem. I want somebody to drink with and party with. So let's drink. Like he's saying things, it's like manipulation, right? Like it's this thing, but I think he's also dumb. Like there's two things going on here. I think that's like the worst part of this right here. Because if you care about somebody, the last thing you want them to do is do something that can kill themselves, right? And he did that. I totally believe he did that. Because that's his trashy fucking personality. I have nearly 2 decades of sobriety under my belt. That's a huge accomplishment. Instead, I cast about justifications for his argument. Correct. So yeah, the self-esteem thing. I was right on about that. I was just kind of like, I don't get this thing right here. Now that I read it, yeah. Okay. Perfect. So yeah, so she had a battle and he came in and he fucking helped her back into that. Obviously it's her choice to do that, but when you're dealing with addicts, like who the fucking dangles it in front of you? I mean, unless you're an asshole, you know what I mean? So, yeah, no, you would have to deal with it going, oh, my partner here has a drinking problem and I'm not going to be able to drink in front of them. It doesn't mean he can never drink. It's just, why are you tempting somebody that you know has a problem? Like, if you care for him, why would you do that? He's a piece of shit. He's a socio. She didn't call him a socio, but I would have called him a socio right away after all this. I would take responsibility for me doing it. It's just in my weak moment because I'm an addict. You know, I would say something like that. And they tempted it. And I felt that I had to do it. I was like, you know what I mean? And he enabled it. That's crazy. He's a piece of shit. I'm totally right about that. I know these son of a bitches. That's why they have to all stay out of my fucking life. Because that's just really awful. No, I think that their meetup is pretty legit. Like, they like, were talking, and he's just sitting there like, yeah, oh, he understands me. And he's just like, oh, yeah, like, how can I get this one? Yeah, like, that thing. That's why I was like, ugh. Fuck, the drinking part. I can't get over that little section right there. I cannot, dude. That really paints up his character, like, really well. The drinking part. Stupid, dumb, gets somebody that's been sober the whole time and then does that. It's really easy to do that to somebody, though. Like, if you're in a relationship with them and all of a sudden you start, like, it's like coercing, in this way, like, it's not really a real thing. This and that, drink with me. That's just crazy. I'm like, you should go to jail, dude. Like, really, it's almost a crime, like, it's one of those things that's like, why would you do that? It's like telling somebody who's, like, suicidal, like, there's nothing really that bad jumping off a bridge. You should probably do it, and then they're getting in trouble for it, right? So it's kind of on that line of things. Like, I don't know, but that's really, he's fucking no. No, I don't know what he did to Neva there, but and I honestly, I hope she finally goes, okay, I'm saying this for what it is. I'm a smarter woman than this, and I deserve much better than this. Why are these people dragging me down? Why are these men dragging me down? It's making me the bad person. Do you see that? It happened with Nicki Minaj too. I'm just like, you guys need to like fucking, mm-mm. These men, they're evil.